My name's Anne. I started at the neighbourhood centre as a student in my final year of social work. So breaking the bias, and I guess the bias that I face myself, I think is obviously being a woman in the workplace and in the community as well. Especially being a young queer woman, definitely have lots of bias and judgments and assumptions about that. So I've really had to work on finding my voice as a young woman, especially, yeah, in the workplace, I think. And then as a queer woman, I think, yeah, uh, infinite biases and assumptions around that. That, yeah, we have to all work, I think, together to break down all those biases for women and queer women, young women. Yeah, the intersection of all those identities. I think we need to highlight the voices of marginalized women. So I highlight the lived experiences of them. So First Nations women, women with a disability, young women, and LGBTQIA plus women. I don't think we can have like meaningful change and progression without including these women and like really highlighting their experiences because they're face that intersection of oppression and injustices every day in their lives. I just think we need to have, yeah, keep the conversations, critical conversations going around how we can make active and meaningful change in society as a whole. We could maybe focus more on reducing the barriers that different people face trying to access services and the community. So I did my LGBTQIA plus inclusivity project, which outlined some implementations of how we could just be a little bit more accessible to that community. And we just made like small changes like, educating staff on the issues that they face, just displaying our pronouns, and putting up like visual cues around to show that we're welcoming of like all, yeah, diverse identities, especially the LGBTQIA plus community. So that was really good to see changes happen. We just love to see everyone feel welcome at the centre and celebrate our differences and celebrate the diversity within our community, and just make sure that everyone feels like they can access the services that they need, and whether that be something critical like emergency relief or whether they're coming for a social group and to have a chat and a cup of tea. Everyone needs to feel welcome and accepted. We can work and all put in the work for as individuals to create change. But really what we need to see is like a national cultural change in attitudes, which needs to be reflected in like the structural and the policy change, because they reflect one another and we can't have really meaningful, important change without it being coming from the top, and without those like broad cultural attitudes being more accepting of women and more inclusive of women. Like that's where we really need to see the changes, as well as all do our individual part of advocacy and, yeah, trying to encourage and support women.